Hello you, thanks for dropping by. If you're new here, my name's Aaron and I build stuff from junk on a weekly basis. Now if that's your thing, settle back, grab a tasty beverage and let's start scratching that build. Well, technically we won't be scratching the build at the moment because Aaron's got the sketchbook out and he's primitively drawing something, a monster, and I'll explain why. If you remember, I've been building spaceships for my Star Wars Dark Universe, and in fact I've got a ship built that will be coming down the pipeline very shortly. But while I was building it, I realised I'd not made a creature for my said Star Wars Dark Universe. And after speaking to the other half's in-laws, I realised I needed to make a monster. And I'm really going to pay for that later. So this takes us to right now, where, unusually for me, I'm making a quick sketch out of what I want the monster to resemble. And no, it's not going to be the mother-in-law. So, like a drunk Bob Ross, I'm trying to tease my pen across the paper to make something. So anyway, let's turn the lights back on and start scratching that build. This is a toy, obviously. It's a ball game of sorts, and if I had a friend, we'd have hours of fun holding the string, making the ball zip back and forth. Since I'm sad and lonely and I don't have any friends, I'm going to cut this all up and it's just going to be the ball I need. Oh, and the reasons why I call it a ball? Because it looks like a rugby or American football, obviously. So I'm just going to give the ball a quick pedicure and then it's onto the legs. Now these are from a long forgotten toy that I had rattling around in a bit box, and these legs will become the creature's legs, obviously. And I really need to give this creature a name. Now, okay, so since I was listening to the Beatles while I was making this creature, I'm going to call it Yoko. So having hot glued the legs down, I found the matching weedy arms for the said broken up toy, and these will be the arms for my creature called Yoko. Now, for legal reasons, I'm not suggesting that Yoko has weedy arms, only that my Yoko has weedy arms. I think we best move on. Tip time, or how I like to call it, just the tip. So as you saw, I got some EVA foam. I love this stuff. Comes in handy a lot for my builds. Great for using as a pillow after you're kicked out of the house for making mother-in-law jokes. Okay, anyway. So, to enhance the panels of the EVA foam, normally I would use the pointy bit of a pen, or the nib. But I found by using the tweezers I can make two holes at once and effectively reduce the amount of time putting holes into the foam. The more you know. Now that tip, which later on when I sprinkle baking soda on the EVA foam for texture, becomes totally redundant and a pointless exercise. But we learn by our mistakes, or I make the mistakes so you don't have to. So what I'm doing here is I'm covering the American football or rugby ball or Yoko totally in the EVA foam in just random sort of squares, and then pointlessly pushing down with the tweezers to make the holes to look like panels. This is a tail that is from that said creature that I found in my bit box. Should be a tail, but I'm going to use it as its nose. Oh yeah, lateral thinking there. Thank you very much. To make the tail less look like a tail and more look like some sort of nose, I'm going to use some rubber marbles and some beads. I'm going to use them as eyes, appendages, I don't know, just going to look like eyes. So I'm just going to use hot glue and just stick them on into the holes. Now, if you're still with me and you haven't skipped to the glamour shots, just want to say thank you, and please consider subscribing, liking the channel. It helps with the algorithm apparently, and hit the notification bell so you never miss one of my builds. Thanks very much. Now, I know what you're all thinking. It looks like a stuffed turkey that your dad will probably stuff on a Christmas morning while your mum's still in bed. That didn't sound right. It didn't sound right, but we know what we're thinking, and we're keeping it clean here. So that's a tail that I'm just going to hot glue on to the back, because I decided that Yoko needed a tail. And I've just realised if you were to change stuffed turkey to stuffed Yoko, then that sounds even worse. But we won't go there. This is one of those annoying fidget toys that kids seem to have all around here. It's just a tube that you just pull out and push back in, and it makes that sort of strange noise. So I'm just going to use this as some sort of tubing, piping. It will all become evident later on why it's there. So yeah, this is an old broken USB cable. I'm not the only one that breaks USB cables, and I'm just going to use this as wiring, and I'm just going to glue it down across the turkey's body, Yoko's body. I've just broke into my model kits just to see what I could find, and I needed something to cover the holes of Yoko's legs, and these are wheels for a tank, which I thought would be fine. I'm just roughing it all up, making that hole in the middle a little bit bigger because I want to put some piping through that. So I'm just going to glue these parts down and cover those holes in Yoko's legs. This, what I'm cutting up, is a flexible bit of piping. It's metal, and it unblocks drains apparently. Never actually used one for its proper purpose because I'm always seems to be cutting them up for all my builds, and this will work perfectly just to go into the holes like that. Get that hairy hand out of the way, and there we go. Just going to slot straight into there. I decided Yoko needed some pipes sticking out of her back, so I just cut down some piping, well, tubing really, and stuck it down, but later on I'm going to pull them off and put something better on after a little trip to the shop for snacks. But before the snack run, I just cut up some EVA foam and just stuck it all on the top of the tail just to give it some texture. Then it was the snack run. So I came back from the shops with snacks and 2 water pistols which had sweets in the top, and these containers is what I want. So in my right hand, this is the first bit that I want, but I also want the bit that it connects to, so I'm going to have to do some surgical removing of this. It's not the best plastic, but I think I'm more than capable with my mandsaw to take this off, so then that can screw back into there, and then I can glue it onto Yoko's back. Now, I'm not going to lie, wasn't a fan of the sweets, so I just dumped them into a container and threw them away. But this was a game changer because once I got all the parts I needed, I pulled off the old pipes and stuck the new pipes onto Yoko's back. Now, off screen, I realised I wanted to make them watertight, so I just kept ploughing a lot of hot glue into the base of those two that I've just stuck onto Yoko's back, for reasons for later on in the build. But this now is a clothesline, common garden household item in any British or Irish household, and but it makes lovely piping because you can bend it and twist it any way you want. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to put some more bits on, and that's going to be Yoko's sort of beady nosy thing anyway. And then just use some more EVA foam just to stick it down, just to give it a little bit more sort of detailing. And once they were done, I wasted my time by popping holes in just to make it look like paneling again. I really don't understand why I did what I did, but hey ho, I live and learn. So once all that was done, then it was on to the beads. Got some more smaller beads, and these are going to be like spots on the back of Yoko's back. Now, when I say Yoko's back, not Yoko's back, but spots on my Yoko's back. I went for a pert bum, and then got some beady eyes, which you're not going to see because I'm going to paint over these, but they were ideal sort of shapes that I wanted, just to add as more pimples that I just dotted around most of Yoko. These are small highlighter pens. You've seen me use these before, and I'm just going to take the stuff apart and then stick them down to the back of Yoko, so it looks like it's some sort of containment unit. Not quite sure, but you know, hey, it looks good. Then once everything was done, it was on to the painting, and I just hit it with a mixture of black acrylic paint and Mod Podge mixed together just to seal everything in. And yes, it probably does look like or resemble a Christmas turkey from one of the many Christmases I've had, not in my house, but yeah, hey, looks better once it's painted black. And this is me trying to do a bad Michael Bay zoom in and then zoom out to get the baking soda, and this is well, what I thought was going to be sort of like a bit of rough texture, but I may have over seasoned this Yoko because it just covered all the holes, but we live and learn. And then I broke out the airbrush and gave it a light bluish paint job, and then just started going in and started painting the eyes and everything else really, just to give it some sort of strange sort of metallic grimy sort of look. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting rust on, cut some copper on, and then bone white for its nails, and it was almost done. So Yoko has now become Yoko the creature. No, that doesn't sound good. Anyway, this is the first entry into my Star Wars Dark Universe creatures. I might do some more, not sure yet. This is some resin that I'm just going to put on the eyes just to give it a bit of, I don't know, make it sort of hopefully pop, as Morrigan's creation says. So I just gave it a quick dry brush of white just to bring out some of the highlights, and then I poured oil into the container, poured some ink into that, so it would look like the creature, Yoko, would be some sort of monster that was sucking the life force out of other animals and storing it in its containers. And that was it, my first Star Wars Dark Universe creature. Keep scratching that build, everybody. sorry for poking fun at you, MC. Thanks for watching, everybody.